Some things are so common that they're invisible, and oftentimes they come with ideas that are so widely accepted that we don't question them. And in those cases, we can end up missing some pretty important things. To show what I mean, let's talk about why superheroes hide their identities. Now, it's been said that the hero does this for their friends and family.
The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
But it's actually not that simple. And in fact, that explanation doesn't hold up when you look close. After all, if they do it to protect their loved ones, then why did Thor have a secret identity? His family's immortal. And what about the Black Panther? He's a king. His family is already well known and protected by an army. So obviously, there's way more to this than what we've been told. And it's actually an example of how a storytelling device can work on two levels in our brain. So let's talk about it. First, there's the obvious stuff it does for the story. When there's a question about a person, it makes us more interested.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
On top of that, the secret identity gives them a normal personal life with a job and relationships that the writers can use. But even then, characters with no personal lives, like the Ninja Turtles, wear masks too. So we still haven't quite figured it out. But it might start to make sense when, as we often do here, we look outside the story. Because the mask doesn't just work for the character or the writers, but also for us, in the audience. You see, like we've said, we bring our self-esteem to the stories we watch. And this comes into play when we consider that superheroes are much more powerful than the average person. When people like that show up in our society, we want to give them credit, to reward them for helping us. But there's a danger there, because giving so much attention to someone else takes away from our own status, particularly when the hero is in our age group. And this makes us hesitant. Like we've talked about, it's part of an automatic response that we all have, which protects our reputation. So, that reluctance to cheer other people means that we can have a hard time connecting to the hero in a story. But this problem can be solved if the hero denies that extra status. How? By hiding their identity, so we feel comfortable cheering them. And if you want more evidence of this, you can look into other areas, like publishing, where they say that death is a great career move for a writer. We discussed a bit about how that external story makes something more powerful, but on top of that, when an author is no longer alive, there's no threat in upping their reputation, so people are much more comfortable complimenting their work. And this is what the superhero's mask does. But it still has some problems. After all, a mask is traditionally associated with someone doing bad.
He's a hero! Then why does he wear a mask?
And a mask also can hurt someone's charisma, since it hides their emotions. And that can even make someone scary. In the history of comics, you can see how they struggled with this. Superman had a secret identity, but with no mask, and they could never really make it believable. So what do? Well, the creators eventually figured it out. In the comics, if you look close, you'll notice that the heroes' masks have a very special ability. They actually show the character's expression. This lets the writers put the emotion and charisma into the character while still having a logical way to hide their identity. But in real life, this doesn't actually work. So, filmmakers drew the facial expression onto the mask, then eventually molded it in, right up until today, where Spider-Man Homecoming will use special effects to accomplish the same thing. Now, in all these cases, the creators didn't necessarily know that having a mask on their character would do all these things. Templates have a way of evolving over time. We copy what works or feels right, even if we don't know why. So we end up with guys like Galactus, who isn't even from this universe, wearing masks, for no apparent reason. But in most cases, the benefits are still there, because these things work on our instincts, and we don't have to know why. And that brings us to one more interesting thing. If a hero just declared that they didn't want to hog the glory or didn't want us to feel bad, we probably wouldn't like it, because it draws attention to the fact that they're doing things we can't. So these other explanations get used, like protecting loved ones. And these make the story feel logical, make the hero seem like a good person, and don't draw attention to the other things going on with our feelings. Which means that this whole idea works on two levels, fitting our intellectual need to believe what we see, while also fitting the instinctive ones that stay under wraps. Thanks for watching. If you liked this vid, share it, and a special thanks to Sam Dawkins for becoming my newest Patreon supporter. Thanks for believing in me, Sam. Catch you next time.